The first dessert I'm always excited to make in the spring is an amazing rhubarb crumble. It is so simple and so delicious. Rhubarb is one of my favorite things to use all season long. A lot of people don't realize that as long as you keep cutting your rhubarb, you're able to use it into the summer. Or if you're going to your farmer's market or local good grocery store, I'm sure you're able to find fresh spring rhubarb in the stores. To start, we're going to make a simple syrup that gets poured over the top and sweetens the really tart rhubarb. Pour 1 cup of water, 1 cup of granulated white sugar into a saucepan with 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Whisk that together just to kind of incorporate it and then set it on the stove over a medium to medium-high heat until it gets bubbly and starts to thicken. While that's thickening on the stove, we can start to create our wonderful crumble crust and topping. In a large bowl, place 3/4 cup of rolled oats, 1 cup of light brown sugar, 1 cup of flour, 1 teaspoon, and if you're like me, you probably want to use a heavy teaspoon of cinnamon. I love cinnamon. And a 1/2 cup of butter. I cut mine into small pieces so it's easier to cut into this mixture. You also want to make sure it's well chilled. Cut it in using a pastry cutter. I use an old-fashioned wire pastry cutter, but any type that you're used to will work. You want to work the butter in until it's well incorporated and you get small chunks or a coarse meal kind of out of this whole mixture. It will take a little bit for the butter to break down into the dry mixture, but eventually it'll become all about the same size of little pieces of butter and flour and cinnamon, and it's starting to smell so good already. Once your dry mixture is ready, you can place half of it in the bottom of a 9 by 9 inch square pan. Lightly press the mixture around just to form a slight crust. You don't need to press it really hard, just lightly around. The mixture on the stove you can see is starting to bubble and is thickened. Take it off the heat and stir in 1 teaspoon of vanilla. It's best when you're heating something on the stove to wait and put the vanilla in till you take it off the heat, because a lot of the vanilla flavor can dissipate if you let it sit there and heat up with all the other things. By adding it after it's done heating and thickening, a lot of the flavor will stay into the mixture. We can set that aside until we're ready for it. For the rhubarb, I've washed and cleaned all the stalks that I need. Since I have plenty of rhubarb growing on the farm here, I always get in extra than I need and put it in the fridge and store it for whenever I want to bake. If you're buying it from the grocery store, just rinse it and wash it and keep it in the fridge, and it will keep for quite a while. We need 4 cups of finely diced rhubarb. If some of the stalks are a little extra large, you can of course cut them in half lengthwise to make them a little bit smaller. And now, just to add a little bit of special touch to this, I'm going to add 1 cup of fresh strawberries, hulled and slightly cut up into chunks. Strawberries and rhubarb are a classic combination, especially in older recipes. My favorite pie is still a strawberry rhubarb pie. Adding the strawberries is something I started doing to this crumble a few years ago, and ever since I can't stop. You should have about a cup of strawberries when you're done. You can of course use frozen ones too if you like. Mix the strawberries and rhubarb together and then pour it over the top of your pressed in crumble. Right on top of the strawberries and rhubarb, we can pour our thickened syrup. Place the rest of the crumbs on top of this. Just scatter them out. You can have some bigger chunks. As they bake, they'll crispen up, and the uneven, bigger and smaller chunks will just be amazing. Once you place the rest of the crumbles on top, you want to place this directly into a preheated 355-degree oven for 45 to 60 minutes. The syrup will start to bubble around the edges of the pan, and the crumble will become lightly golden. And you will know it is ready by the amazing aroma coming from your kitchen. As you can see, when this is done, It is really hard not to let yourself dig into it right away, but it's way too hot and you would burn your mouth within an instant. Let it cool for about a half an hour in the pan and serve it warm or just at room temperature. This usually doesn't last too long in my house. I eat it for breakfast, lunch, dinner. It is so good. It's great for picnics, get-togethers. Just serve it up with some amazing homemade vanilla ice cream or whipped cream, and you are ready to go. Thanks for watching this video. To see more videos that you might enjoy, click over here, or click down here and subscribe to our channel to see all the great new videos we come out with each week. Can't wait to see you again.